A few years ago, I saw this animated GIF on social media and I was mesmerized. Also confused, because I'm thinking, how on earth would you design something like that? So all those different unusual shaped objects are all like perfectly missing each other, like just contacting and moving through. I'm like, that is absolutely incredible. This was posted by someone named Daniel Piker. They go by at Kangaroo Physics online. Daniel did reveal how this is done. It turns out it's just a moving cross section through a 3D packing of rods. In this case, they are hexagonal prism rods and square prism rods. And you just take a cross section as you go through. And because all the rods are like flush up against each other, when you move through their cross section, because they're on angles, it looks like it's moving around and just perfectly missing everything else. And I got in touch with Daniel and he actually sent me a 3D model of this, so which you can see what I've got there, and you can play around with this and move it about. And so you look at that. So these are the square ones going that way and that way and that way, and then you've got the hexagonal ones going the other way. I now had a new problem because this reminded me of the Hexasticks that I made many years ago. If you've been watching the channel for a long time, you remember this video where I was bored in a hotel room. My physicist wife was at a conference and I thought I would build a ridiculous maths thing, and I built a Hexasticks. And as you can see, I was so proud of how well it turned out. All my hair fell out. Absolutely incredible. And for 2 years now, I've been thinking, wouldn't it be great if I could build this model, because this has got 7 different types of rods going through it, out of pencils in the same way the Hexasticks was built. But to do that, well, first of all, it'd be handy if they're different colors. I would need more hexagonal pencils, ideally in 4 different colors. And so, sure enough, got some of them. So, for example, in this packet here, these ones, they're the black ones. I've also got yellow and some other colors as well. But then I would need square cross-section pencils to complement these. To get these, I had to contact a pencil manufacturer and specify that I need to have hexagonal 4 different colors, square 3 colors, such that they're the same width when you line them up, and that means I can build them into this shape. I think. I've never done this before. I mean, no one has ever done this before, so we're going to have to work out the instructions as we go. In theory, when we finish, it's going to look like that. Check that out. That's Future Matt there, having successfully built it. It's pretty amazing. Oh, I'm so tempted to touch it, just to reach out. If you reach out, that will anger camera person Alex a lot. Yeah, good point. And they will be both past, present, and future camera person Alex will be very upset. This video is sponsored by Jane Street and their many fantastic courses, detailed in the description and the end of the video. One of the advantages of getting the pencils custom made is I could allocate colors. So the square ones are RGB, red, green, blue, and I've gone for cyan, magenta, and yellow, plus black, or K. Before we go into the whole shape, I'm going to build a small model just out of these, and a small model out of these separately, and then we're going to define some terms. If you're actually trying to build this thing and you want to see what I'm doing in more detail, we will put a much longer cut with all of the details over on the second channel. And now for the slightly more complicated hexagon version. Okay, and now I've done the 4 tetrahedral directions. That's what I'm calling them, which is why I've labeled the pencils tetrahedral A, B, C, and D. And there you are. I've now got a hexagon going in every single direction made up of 7 pencils. So the center pencils, I guess, are the center 4 axes. And then I've just done 1 layer out in each direction. Same as I did here with the 3, I'm calling them cube directions, where I've got a center one in each direction, and then I've done 1 layer out around it. And if you want to make the Hexasticks model that I did previously, you just keep doing this. So you just add another layer of each one. And for a Hexasticks, you actually take out the ones behind as you increase each of these. So they become like hollow cylinders in each direction. And I could make that again, but what I want to do is somehow combine these. Pleasingly, these are 2 of the possible 6 very regular packings of cylinders in 3D space. There was a seminal paper, you can see it here, I've got it on the laptop, called The Invariant Cubic Rod Cylinder Packings, Symmetries and Coordinates. And down here on the second page, you can see all 6 of them. So the top 2 are cube based, and that's one of the ones I've built here. That's the one on the right. We've basically built that packing. And then you got the tetrahedral ones. So this one here we've built. That is the, oh, I'm pretty sure it's the one on the left. Yes, let's go with that. One on the left. And the ones we're not building any of are the ones where I would need triangle cross-section pencils, although I have now got a contact at a pencil manufacturer. And actually, Daniel did send me a visualization of another arrangement of triangle prism rods. And if you look at the moving cross-section, you can see you get another one of these cool patterns. But we're not doing that. What we're doing today is we're going to try and combine both of these into this 3D model, which is not in that paper because this is a semi-regular packing of rods in 3D space, but it's the 2 of these combined. We need to get this one. Have I made the same handedness? Yeah, like that. So we need to get this one, which if I match it up, the blue facing camera, we'll do it with that camera there, blue facing, red, and then green. So you can see that, if you just look at the square ones, is that, except these are all like flush faces, and these are like orthogonal, where they line up with the direction they're going. Whereas here you can see they all need to be twisted 45 degrees. That will hopefully happen once we combine it with this set, which, as you can see, that's the other hexagonal ones. And Daniel very kindly altered this 3D model so the colors here match the actual colors that I've got the pencils made in. Thank you so much to Daniel Piker for doing that for me. So what we're going to do now, I think, should we start a new one? You know what, I'm going to keep both of these, just so if what I'm about to do doesn't work, at least we get something. And I'm going to start a whole new model to try and build this. Here we go. On to the main event. I'm going to keep both of these because I like them, and I'm not short of pencils. So to be able to get custom pencils, you've got to order a lot. So I don't even know how many are in these giant boxes of pencils, but there's a lot in those. And I've got several of these of each type, and actually I'll make all the leftover ones available. If you go onto Massgear, you'll be able to buy, we'll package them up so you can have a full set, enough to build whatever it is I end up building today. So that's my promise to you. Okay, I think to do this, I'm going to start. Should I build all of this? You know what? I'm just going to do these 4 reds here going through these 4 greens going through the 4. So I'm going to do the corner 4 of each of those. That should give me enough play. I will then guess putting in the tetrahedral ones. So here we go. And then the blue go through the middle and on top in this direction. So one of these is going to go right through the center, through there. Okay, so that's that center one. And then I want one there. You know what, just to make my orientation life easier, I'm going to fill in the rest of these. And the trick now is to rotate those together. There we go, okay. I'm being careful to copy this because Daniel made this for me, and they very kindly spent a while working out what's like a subset of the rods, because in theory this is like a lattice that would go in every single direction, infinitely far. But Daniel worked out like what subset of rods would give you like a stable arrangement that should be able to be held in place by elastic bands. So in theory, I could add more or fewer of any of these 7 different pencils, but in the first pass, I'm going to just try and follow exactly the subset here that Daniel recommended. But to be fair, I mean, they very kindly spent their time on it, but even they were like, I don't know, there's like so many different ways you could pick a subset of this packing. Who knows, this may not be the optimal one. So I'm going to build what I can see there, and then afterwards we'll have a play to determine if we do think that was the best possible one. The other thing I've done differently this time, so if you compare this, I think that's pretty much it, to the one I did before, there's one fewer pencil in each direction. Oops, 2 fewer greens now. The other thing I've done is I have tried to line up the labels on the pencils. So I didn't bother doing that for these, which might bug some people, but now you can see all the blue ones all have orthogonal Z-axis at the same end, facing the same way. So now everyone's happy. Okay, having done that, I now need to very carefully calculate where some of these yellow ones go. So this yellow, I'm going to do this yellow one here. I'm pretty much just going to do exactly what I can see there. So if you put it this way, it goes through this gap here. It goes under a single red. And then on the other side, it goes under the topmost blue. So it goes through, where'd it go? There's 3 greens, those 3 greens, that one red, and that one blue. Okay, so in theory. Now, it's not happy because, again, all of these square end pencils all need to end up 45 degrees from where they'd like to be if it was just them. But because we have these coming in with their hexagonals, they're all going to twist slightly. So maybe I could try and put all the yellows in at once. Should we do that? I feel like there's going to be some symmetries. Oh yeah, this other yellow one is doing the same thing I just did, but different colors. So this one, okay, needs to go that way. This one cuts those 3 red there like that. That's it there. And then it goes under 1 green, under 1 blue. So it's what I just did, but from a different direction. So under 1 green, which is that green, under 1 blue, which is that blue. Oh, in a perfect world, the cube grid will be enough to be able to put in all of one color at a time, and then I can just be nice and systematic about it. I was a bit nervous I'd have to rotate through, gradually building up more of each color as I went, but we'll see. And so this one cuts off 2 blues. Huh, interesting. No. I guess. That doesn't feel right. Oh, okay, it's just because I was trying to line it up on the outside. It does, it takes off those 2 blues, but goes through 3 greens and a number of reds. Wait, what if I kind of squash this down? Will that give me a better angle? Oh, okay, here we go. Those 3 greens in there. That's that blue. Come on. The reds, I don't know. One thing I've learned already is don't start with the full 9, where you've got 3 in each direction, because it's really hard to orientate. Oops. Because these all have 1 corner missing, when you look at it, you can pretty quickly see, oh, there's no blue one there, which means when I look at the model, I can know it goes up this way because that missing one's in the bottom right-hand corner. So definitely don't start with that. Start with a slight asymmetry. It makes your life a lot easier to line things up. Let's do the first one there. I'm gonna hold it with that finger. Then I'm gonna get through that same gap here. Yep. And then just got to kind of push it down to work. Whoops. There we go. Huh, don't you go anywhere. Okay, so now I've got 1 set of the 4 going through, and I'm hoping the other ones are going to be the same thing, but going to get easier each time. And because of the symmetries, it should be pretty straightforward. Sometimes if you kind of squash it down, it opens up some of the holes through there. Oh, yikes. Up next, we'll put in black, which Daniel has very kindly labeled in gray to make it a little bit easier to see. So where was I? I was there, and now I'm going to swing it around this way. So I'll be looking down the barrel of blue, red, green, yes. Okay, the further into this build I go, because there's more other rods in place, the more obvious it gets for where the missing ones go. So now this one takes off the same 3 reds, no greens, and a single blue. Okay, so it's basically this on the other side. So same 3 reds as this one there, single blue there. Oh, look at that. That wasn't even difficult. Oh, I can see the square pencils are naturally twisting themselves onto a different axis. I just gotta be careful they're all going the same way so my labels stay aligned. You know what, I had a lot of success last time doing the short two. So this is the short diagonal. If you imagine this is a rhombus, short diagonal, long diagonal. I found last time doing the 2 ones on the short diagonal first made life easy. So let's try that. There's your other green, and then you're out the other side. Aha, that's it. All right, there it is. That's the model. So what I've done there is, in theory, exactly the same as what we've done over here. And as far as we're aware, in terms of what Daniel very kindly did for me, that's like the nicest, neatest, like subset of the infinite lattice of these stacked rods, which produce that fantastic, the original, that animated GIF is through just a bigger version of this. Ah, that's so pleasing. Oh, but you know what? A little bit of me thinks, like these, I quite like the square ones. I kind of want to put in the 9th one for each of those so we get the full square effect, because then the elastic bands will form squares. And at the moment, these ones here, the hexagonal ones, the elastic bands form, it's a rhombus, it's lovely. What if they were hexagons? Okay, so that's all the cube orientation ones done, the X, Y, and Z. Now A, B, C, and D, for each one I've just got to decide how I want to complete the hexagon. I feel like with each rhombus, let's do the black one first. I've got, so you can see over this camera here, I've got the rhombus we already did. And I can now decide which one's the center one, which I'm going to, well, it's either this one or this one. I'm going to call this one, which means I need 1 above and 2 either side. And I think the easiest way to do it is to maybe to put the sides in first, then the one, no, I'm going to do the one above first, and then I'll fill in the missing sides. So let's see how that goes. Thankfully, there's a lot of, like, it's not perfectly regular, but there is still a lot of symmetry in this. So if in doubt, the point where it looks the most symmetric is probably correct. I'm not 100% sure I got the blacks right to start with. I'll put, you know what, I'm going to put in magenta and cyan, and then I'll come back and revisit my thoughts on black. Radio, cyan time. Surely. I feel like this just goes through here, and that's going to be fine. I feel like if I put that extra magenta in, oh, let's just do it now. If I put this magenta in, I reckon that will hold that blue one I just put in place a bit better. So, sorry, cyan. Let's put that through there and through there. And then that's, oh, I'm still not convinced. I think that one's, it's definitely wrong. It's definitely wrong. What have I done wrong? Think, Matthew. Okay, here's what I'm up against. That, I mean, that is, I think that's quite lovely. I'm, you know, happy with this. I feel like that's a wonderful model. This is the actual combination of these two, exactly as they were built, into one model. What would hold that in place? Oh, the next red down would. But then if I put the next red down in, it's just going to keep getting bigger. That's flat. That's flat. There's 7 different surfaces it should be stable on. I'm just trying to make sure for each of them, the pencils in that axis are aligned and the rest of the mass is roughly in the middle of that axis. I think the squares would fit. I can see all the holes they would go in. The only question would be, if I put in one like here, would that be stable? Yeah, that's like fixed. It's got a little bit of, because that would sit on 2 of those there. Oh, you know what? Let me try it for one. Let me try it for one and see how we feel about it. You know what? That is very pleasing, actually, now that I'm doing it. Oh. All right, I'm doing them all. Okay, here we go. They're just perfectly slotting into pre-existing gaps in the rest of the lattice. Yes, 100%, that's it. Now it feels complete. And all the hexagons are the perfect shape, and all the squares are square enough. I say square enough because the squares, instead of, and this makes sense now I think about it, because before I had the squares were these 3x3s, and that's because the outside flat edges of the square lined up with the overall shape of the square. And then the model we had worked out, because they all twist by 45, we now still had that would be the red square there, and we had the missing one up here, but now they're 45 to that. In reality, what's ended up happening, the nicest way of doing it, is once again, we've filled in the other corners of the square, so now the square cross sections are once again square with the square. Those squares are square, square. Which apparently is hip. 67 pencils, only 5 shy of the Hexasticks. Part of me wonders if you could start removing some of the center ones now, but I think, no, I'm going to declare it. That's the official sculpture. 67 pencils, I'm going to call it. Obviously, there are other subsets of the stacking of rods that you could have built instead, but if you want to build the specific model that I have now semi-invented, discovered, the 67 pencil sculpture. That is it. That is the 67 pencil. Oh, and it's nice because elastic bands all form hexagons and squares. And it's the combination of your 3 right angle axes with your 4 tetrahedral angle axes. And you get this. And if you cut a moving cross section through this, you get the animated GIF that we started with at the beginning. Ah, that's so nice. And speaking of nice, that reminds me of this video sponsor, Jane Street. I've been wearing a Jane Street t-shirt the whole time, by the way. So there you go, look at me, branded Jane Street. I mean, if you've enjoyed this video and you like doing creative, interesting things with mathematics,
I cannot over-recommend checking out some of Jane Street's fantastic educational programs they offer for university and pre-university students. They're currently accepting applications for courses running in their New York and London offices, and they're all different lengths and they cover different subject matters, but generally speaking, they cover STEM topics you may be interested in, such as programming, mathematics, of course, statistics, and much more. For example, the WISE course is running. This is open to women and, in fact, any gender-expansive people who may be underrepresented traditionally in STEM. And Jane Street do have like jobs you can apply for, but that's a whole separate thing. These courses are not recruitment, it's something they do to support the education community. And if you do want to get involved, or you know someone that you can recommend these to, you don't need to already have a background in finance to apply. Jane Street are just looking for curious people from any background who have a passion for technology and enjoy creative problem solving. Applications for the courses will be closing in the next couple of weeks.
do check out Jane Street. I'll link to WISE and everything else in the description below. Now, I do genuinely have hundreds, I think only hundreds, oh dear goodness, hopefully not thousands, of the pencils you need to make this sculpture. We will package them up so you've got enough to build this. And obviously, if you've got enough to build this, you could build these separately. If you want to build these and this, you might have to buy more than one set. I don't know if I'll let you do that. I'll work that out later. There'll be a link to Massgear below. If you want to go there and they're still available, you can grab yourself a set of these pencils. I don't know what we're going to charge. Whatever I need to get my money back on getting custom pencils manufactured. And while you're over at Massgear, it would be a shame for me to not mention Love Triangle. Love Triangle, my book. You can pre-order it. Triangles, fun fact, the only shape of pencils that I couldn't get made. You can get rounded triangle pencils. We could do the extra one. I don't know, maybe one day. But for now, there you are. That's it. That is the 67 pencils sculpture. Now, if you excuse me, I have to go be Future Matt now that this is finished.